welcome back. As a small YouTube creator starting out with 157 subscribers, I recently completed a 15-day visibility challenge. And basically I posted one long form video every day for 15 days. Yep, now while my channel did grow, the numbers wasn't what surprised me. So I know that you're here for the numbers, so let's just start there. So over the past 15 days that started back, August 5th and ended yesterday or 2 days ago, my channel grew by like 551 views, and it had 24.3 watch hours, and I went from 157 subscribers to 171 subscribers. So that's 14 extra subscribers, roughly 9%. So I'm pretty happy about that. But I do want to be totally transparent with you in regards to those subscribers. As I mentioned, I was a part of a 15-day visibility challenge. It was a cohort ran by, Renee Coakley, who's also a YouTuber, and basically it was like 30 of us doing the challenge together. So I'm sure that some of those 14, subscribers came from the cohort because we was there to support and encourage one another. So I'm not here trying to fake the funk to be like that was all pure organic growth, but you know what? I'll still take it. I'll still take it. So that was the number. But the thing, on top of the subscriber growth that I was happy with, and before I get into all that, let me just say this. On top of that, the subscriber stuff, another thing that I think definitely played a part in it of it all, at the beginning of the challenge, right, the very first day, I finally made up my mind that I was going to pivot my channel a bit. Because if you've been here before, or if you're new here, if you look at any of my previous videos, the majority of them was around my travel freedom, right, specifically cruising. It was room tours, all type of things, everything having to do with cruising. But when I started that challenge, I knew that I wanted to get back to the initial root of what I wanted this channel was to be about. So the very first video that I did, a part of the challenge, was like a reintroduction of this channel, so that I can lay the groundwork going forward. So I think that had a lot to do with it as well, because if I was continuing making cruise video, which is highly searchable and stuff like that, the views may have been higher, but it wasn't all about the views for me. So I just wanted to start there. So the big question is probably wondering, hey, was it worth it? And you only got 551 views over 15 videos. Is that worth it to you? Well, my answer is absolutely yes, it was. And here's why. Yeah, some people may say, only, you did all that work and you only got 500 and some views. But here's my answer to that. I can't control the views. Right? I can't control who not Facebook, Lord have mercy, who YouTube, Lord have mercy, who YouTube decides to show my videos to. I can't control that. But what I could control was me showing up. What I could control was me hitting the record button. What I could control was me publishing it. And that's what I did every single day as part of this challenge. So I absolutely, thought that it was worth it. And there are some other questions that, I sat down and asked myself that I want to share with you to just get a bit of better feel of, what I walked away with from this challenge. So I'm gonna look at my notebook so I don't forget. So I answered the one about the 551 views. Do I think it was worth it? What did I learn about myself? Now this one was big too. What I learned about myself is that, I have a lot of lived experiences, right? A lot of times we may think that our life is boring or nobody wants to hear about it or that type of stuff. But what I learned from, being a part of this cohort was to take all of my lived experiences and organize them in some type of way, and how I can share them with the rest of the world. Because you never know who I can bless by sharing my story. So that's one of the things that I learned is in regards to all of the lived experiences that I have and what good it can do, you know, by jumping on here and sharing it and not keeping it to myself. Another thing that I learned, I already knew, but I had to be reminded of it, is that, you know, I can do hard things, right? Initially, I was thinking, man, 15 days every day, right? And that's the reason why I joined it, because I wanted to get back to being consistent, right? In my previous videos, I would upload a video, maybe every 2 weeks, and don't let me be traveling. You might get one once a month or even longer than that. So I want to become consistent with creating content, especially correction. I wanted to become consistent with having conversations. That's another thing that I learned. I no longer look at this as creating content. I'm just here to have conversations with y'all. That's all it is. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Yeah, it just reminded me that I can do hard things. I think it's been about 2 years ago I challenged myself to complete this program called 75 Hard, right? And that program had different things you had to do, like you had to work out twice a day. One of them had to be outside. You had to eat, you know, a certain meal plan that you suggest, you know, I selected on my own. Had to drink like a gallon of water, no alcohol. I had to read 10 pages of a book. I had to take a picture of myself every day. All of those things I had to do as part of the 75 Hard Challenge. And you know what really made it hard is that if I missed the day, you had to start over from the beginning. You had to start over from the beginning. So I knew that if I could complete that, surely if I can buckle down that I can do this hard thing of completing 15 days of creating conversations here on YouTube. And another thing that I learned about myself is that I still kind of like structure in a way, right? I'm all about freedom and owning my time and stuff like that. But one thing that made me successful in this challenge is that I treated it like a job. I was like, okay, I'm gonna work on it from this time to this time, right? And that's what I did. Whether, you know, I stayed at home to do it or I actually went to the library, you know, to change up my environment, I treated it like a job. And it reminded me of, once again, when I was working on my dissertation. One of the things I had to tell myself to get through that hard thing, right? Writing a dissertation and completing a doctoral program is hard, so that's another hard thing, okay? But it just reminded me when I was going through that program, one thing that helped me was I told myself I had to touch it every day, right? So that doesn't mean I was writing, you know, pages on pages every day. It could have been I was reading an article on it, or, you know, I was editing, you know, my work or whatever have you. So I approached this challenge the same way as treating it like a job. Yeah, for that particular time frame. So yeah, the structure of it really helped me to stay focused, because I gave myself a certain amount of time to, like, only between these hours am I gonna do it. But the thing is, I say that, but once I started, the ideas and the conversations just kept coming to me. And I just think that just another proof of how when you take your lived experiences, everything that you've been through in life, and look at it as conversations that you can have and share with others, it becomes endless that, you know, what you can do. So that's one thing, like, what I learned about myself. Not one thing, but several things that came about from the challenge. Okay, what got easier? Okay, so believe it or not, over, you know, 15 days, it did get easier. Like I said, because I treated it like a job, you know, I knew, okay, after breakfast, this is what I was gonna do. You know, the more you do it, the easier it gets. I'm not gonna say that it was easy, but the easier it gets, especially when you get out of your own head. It's just like, and you're just having a conversation. I'm not gonna even worry about, you know, editing. That made it a lot easier. That type of stuff. I'm not gonna spend all this time creating thumbnails. You know, I'll have chat to help me with that, absolutely, and did. So Yeah, that's what really made it easier. And also, something that made it easier as well, like I said, it was part of a cohort, so we was sharing our videos each day and just looking at the other ladies, videos and stuff like that. It just kept me encouraged, and it also gave me ideas that I can do in the future as well. So it just goes to prove that the more you do something, the easier it comes with time. And I know Renee would always say, it's like you're building a muscle, right? You got to put in your reps, right? If you want something to become a habit, you got to do it over and over again. And it wasn't a matter of, oh, I want it to be perfect. I just wanted to get it done. You make sure that I got it done no matter what. So that's how it became easier. And of course, what was hard? Yeah, even though, I treated it like a job, it was hard to do it every single day. It was hard, because there were some days I didn't want to do it. I'm like, man, I ain't got to be perfect. I can miss one day, but yeah, it was hard to just do it every single day. But the thing is, what I learned about that and what I took away from that is going forward is that I need to create some type of system that's sustainable, right? Whether that's, batching, recording more than one video at a time, so that I'm like a day ahead, so I can schedule it out, that type of stuff. I think that would help in a way, and I'm definitely here for it. But I also can see how doing it every day, it keeps it fresh, right? When you're touching it every day, it keeps it top of mind, where you scheduling it out 2 and 3 days, in advance. You might lose that motivation and that drive, type of stuff. So I'm gonna have to play with that a little bit, but especially seeing how, I have, some trips coming up in the near future, I would definitely probably batch some things out, but we'll see. So, as you can see, as I mentioned, the numbers may seem small to, more experienced creators or whatever have you. But as with anything, like I said before, it was beyond the numbers. It was those things that I learned internally about myself. You can't put, a price tag on, right? You can't measure that, but it would definitely be something that I would do again. And speaking of that, you may be wondering, okay, what now, Ann? You done completed 15. Are you going to keep going? I think so. I think so, because like I said, this is more like a job to me that I love doing. It is more just like conversation. There's another YouTuber that I watched the other day. She mentioned that, she said, we have thousands of conversations every day, right? Whether we're talking to family or friends or whatever have you, why not just take one of those conversations and move them over here on YouTube, right? So that's definitely a great way of looking at things. But I am gonna change things up a bit. Not sure exactly, but I think it may not be, I don't know yet. It may not be post every day, right? Because when you're posting every day, you're trying to keep up with that streak, right? I don't want to, break my streak, daily posting. It may be more so I want to create 100 or have 100 conversations, over the next 100 days. Something along that line. So that just gives me a little space. I'm not chasing, streaks. Yeah, I might do something like that, so we'll see. We will see. So I just wanted to come on here and share, this journey with you that I've been doing the past 15 days. So if you notice, like, dang, this girl has posted every day, that's the reason why. Not to say that's gonna, stay the same going forward. I don't know yet. It may for a little while, but I won't drop off like I did before on my other channel where it's weeks or months at a time. I can assure you of that. I can assure you of that. So if this is something that you like, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And I'll leave you with this question, and I'm curious, and I hope that you'll share it with, share it with me in the comments. Is there something that you've been wanting to start or to try out, but you haven't because, you thought it was too hard, or you're overthinking it, or you trying to be perfect? Is there something that you've been wanting to do but you haven't done it? I love to hear about it. And hopefully, just keep in mind, it's not always about the numbers or just being perfect. It's like, what did you do today, in this day, toward that goal you're trying to reach? So with that, I'll holler at you guys next time.